Now, the first conversation we are supposed to have this morning is about matters medical and travel insurance. Do you have medical insurance? Do you take travel insurance when you're traveling? And just what challenges do you face? That we shall be discussing with Nixon Shigoli. He is the Managing Director at AAR Insurance Kenya. Welcome on set.
Thank you.
We can just start off with a bit of some statistics. Kenya's insurance penetration is about 2.8%. And most of it is in the motor vehicle and medical. So where you lie. Could you just give us your experience in terms of the insurance sector of it?
Thank you. The penetration, the global penetration is at around 7.2. Those are statistics for 2020. Okay. And you can see where Africa lies, or Kenya. Kenya is at around 2.8, as you've said, and we are very far from the global average of 7.2%. In Africa, South Africa is the one that tops with the market share of with a penetration of around 15%, and it is leading even in the world globally. It's among the leading countries with penetration rates that are high. Kenya, now the experience in Kenya is that we are coming from a Harambee philosophy, and many people then don't find insurance as attractive because we rely on family. If we have a problem, the family will contribute to help us pay the bills. If there is a funeral, we come together, we create a WhatsApp group, we raise money, and we pay for the expenses. Yet, buying an insurance for funeral is very cheap. With 500 shillings per year, you'll get 100,000 plus of benefit for funeral cover or for funeral expense, and people still prefer to come together and raise funds. So the main thing, maybe I would say, it's awareness, is people not taking insurance as an important aspect of their basic need.
When you talk about the Harambee mentality, I mean, it moved from physical Harambes, as you said. Now we do WhatsApp groups, and most of the time when someone passes on, people don't really think to ask, is there a funeral cover? It's always, let's start putting the money together. So what benefit would it give someone, a Kenyan who is watching, to have, say, a funeral cover or a medical cover that has a last expense?
It's first of all, the benefits are enormous, because remember, if you have a medical cover, medical covers will always come with a last expense or a funeral cover attaching to it, because it's usually not one of those very expensive benefits to buy. And therefore, when you get a family member passing on, or you have expenses relating to funeral, you can be sorted by insurance up to a limit of, say, 500,000. You can buy much higher limit if you want, but most insurance companies like AR will offer a 50,000 limit, a 100,000 limit, up to 200,000 for last expense. If you are not from some of the communities I wouldn't mention, like mine, then with the 200,000 you have more than enough to give your departed relative a decent send-off, and because that will be able, the cover will be able to pay for the costs of the mortuary, the hearse, all the material, all the equipment required for the send-off for that particular member. So it's an important cover, because it will take care of all. You will not be forced to push people into raising funds. People can still raise funds, but that's just to top up. But then you will not have the pressure of funds to send your relative.
When you think about the Kenyan setup, most cultures, even in families, when you talk about a funeral cover, someone might start saying, now unataka kutulia wazazi, that kind of thinking. So what will it take to help Kenyans come out of that kind of thinking and to see the importance of maybe having a funeral cover?
It's, in my view, awareness. Whereas, and also I come from a culture where we wouldn't. We don't think we'll die. If we die, there's a reason why you have died. So it's just awareness. We need to know the most the very constant thing that can happen to us is we must just end up dying at some point. So if we know that, then we'll invest some income or some money into ensuring there are no expenses that will make the family go bankrupt, to ensure that you are safe. So one is to get a medical cover that will take care of the medical expenses in your hospital, in the hospital. And two is now to take care of the funeral expenses. And if for your information, if you are not careful, you can spend up to $1 million for just funeral expenses, up to 1 million shillings. So, and this can be insured at relatively low premiums annually. And it's just people getting to be aware that you actually can buy the cover. It doesn't mean you'll die tomorrow, because remember, you are paying like 10,000, 5,000, 500 for a benefit of 200,000 or 100,000. It means you need to pay for several years for the insurance to be able to afford that benefit to you. So it's not that when you pay that amount, you need to benefit from it immediately, and that's why there is that thinking, then you are investing into dying. No, it is just planning ahead, and it's good to plan.
It is good to plan. Well, before we even get to the dying bit, let's talk about the medical cover. Yeah,
it's a hard topic.
Yes. Kenyans, most Kenyans really, there are those who cannot afford, you know, it's not in their priority list because of the lack of income that can cover that. And then now there are those who really don't think it is important and end up bankrupting families when they get sick, especially as they head into old age. How can this be helped, this situation?
First, and maybe I've talked about awareness for long. First, I know there is the challenge of income and the poverty level, but it is also an issue of awareness, because not all insurance is very expensive. There is an assumption that insurance is very expensive, so we can't afford. You can afford insurance the same way you wake up in the morning and take 50 shillings to buy milk. The same way you can pay for insurance. For example, at AIR, there are covers as low as 500 shillings for a year, 400 per year, and I'm not divided to make it per month. And with 400 per year or 500 shillings per year, you'll get some level of cover. It's not as lucrative, but you'll get some level of cover. If you have a sickness and you are admitted and the bill is 78,000, 100,000, you'll find insurance coming in and sorting it out and paying the bill for you. In addition, and that mainly I've talked about the private insurance side. If you come to the universal health or the NHIF one, with 500 shillings per month, you also can be able to afford some decent level of cover. So it's just an issue of awareness. Invest into some level of cover, and we find it easy to discard insurance than we say our insurance can wait, we can deal with the other issues first. But it is as important as the primary needs that we have. Yeah.
But most Kenyans, when you tell them that they are only going to get the bare minimum with these 500 shillings,
yes,
they would have to dig way deeper into their pockets to get a better deal, maybe that can cover even these diseases that come with old age.
Yes.
How can the costing of insurance be more favorable to Kenyans?
The costing of insurance can be favorable, and I can say there are some level of favorability in the costing of insurance. Because remember, sometimes insurance is classified into levels. You can get the basic level, and that basic level you can get very good cover within a basic level. And basic level means that you are not going for complicated benefits like chronic conditions at a very high rate, because those are the ones that scale up the pricing. Or two, you can also just do what we call for accidents. Also, accidents are high, and most of them have taken people into poverty. You can take for accident, which the cover is relatively also very cheap. Like at AIR, we have what we call AIR Protect. You can get it at even 10 million cover at a very low rate. But insuring accidents. If you get an accident, then the bills will be paid up to them, the maximum. So it's the costing will depend on what really you want. And then secondly, insurance companies are creating low-end products. They will not be very fancy, but they will take care of all the basic requirements of treatment for any Kenyan. And people should check out for those products. They are available. They are available at AR. Most underwriters have other products that cover people at a very low rate, and you can get reasonable cover.
You can get reasonable cover, so
yes.
that should not be an excuse for anything.
That shouldn't be an excuse. And it is better you have something than nothing. You know, sometimes if you say, now I'm waiting to get 10,000 to buy a big cover, buy with what you have. Buy the one for 2,000. If you get more income, increase the cover to a much higher level, and with the time you'll have very sufficient cover. And just a precaution for the citizens. First of all, there is no enough cover. Usually, if you have enough cover, it means you have not had, you are okay. The minute you need cover, it is never enough. And there is no less cover. You know, you can have a big cover, but you are not, because you have not used, you cannot say I'm over-insured. Because at the time of need is when that becomes important.
Yes. All right, that is very important. One of the challenges that faces the insurance sector in Kenya is fraud. And the medical insurance has been flagged, you know, for being one of the highly, you know, this fraud is highly practiced in medical insurance. So just give us an overview of your experience in that and what can be done to reduce fraud in Kenya's insurance sector.
The problem of fraud is not just a Kenyan problem, it's a global problem. For example, the Association of British Insurers in 2016 released statistics that over 100,000 cases in 2016, over 100,000 claims worth over 1 billion pounds were fraudulent. And the indication was that that is what is known, and what is not known could be equivalent to the same amount. That is an example of globally of how this fraud affects us. In East Africa, is still a big problem. Fraud is a problem, and specifically in Kenya, estimates, because most of us don't again report. You prefer dealing with the issue, and if you report, you know, that's when you have the proper statistics.
By us, you mean the underwriters, right?
Most of us Kenyans, not underwriters. Few will report the extreme cases, but we estimate that 25% of each and every claim, insurance claim, is fraudulent. And fraud arises from various levels. At the time of coming on board, the information you gave was not truthful, 100%. There is some information that had gaps at the point of claiming. When you are presenting your claim, the information that is presented has gaps or is exaggerated, or the claim itself is exaggerated, and at various level. It happens at various level, or staff or agents of insurance companies misrepresenting the information around a claim, and you end up paying more than what you should have paid. Even at provider level, maybe knowing this is insurance, you charge slightly more, and when it is private, not insurance, you charge slightly less, and not many, and again, but a few people will take that route. So the experience has been, and I'll give you just one. There's one that we paid in my life, because I've been in insurance for like 20 years. We paid around 38 million for a cover that we should have paid only 20 million. Because some of this environment or some of the fraud is not easy to prevent or to detect. So you will know, you will think, consciously you think this is not right, this looks fraudulent, but you are locked in there, so you end up paying. So what we've done at AR is to increase the level of training in terms of arresting issues that may be on the borderline, and also technology, use of technology to because we deal with very big data, a lot of data on claims. So we use technology to flag outliers, to look at trends and see that this trend doesn't look normal, then flag it for review. And also included some artificial intelligence, so that things that are normal claims, things that are within normal, passes through, and our staff can focus on the things that may look abnormal, so that they can get whether there is any level of fraud. That's how we deal with it. And at industry level, is collaboration. If we could share data, share trends of new fraud coming up, new methods of fraud coming up, then we'll curb it. And this is what makes insurance premiums high. Because when the claims are high, the insurance premiums will be high. And lastly, for example, last year, 2021, 51 billion was collected in terms of medical insurance premiums, but 75% of that goes into payment of claims, which can be managed. If you, in some countries, around 60, below 60% goes into payment of claims, and therefore makes the premiums much easier when you are pricing. Currently, when we are pricing, then we have to take into account 75% already going out. So then you have to price for the other things, administration and other things with that in mind, making insurance more expensive.
Right. So that brings to the fore the cost of healthcare in the country. And before we even delve into that a little bit more, you mentioned some hospitals or some health service providers, they charge more when someone has insurance. I mean, people have seen their insurance cards being milked, literally, You walk into a hospital, someone who pays on cash basis might even pay 2,000. But because you're on insurance, you end up paying like 8,000 for the same service, same drugs. What is being done to stop this?
First of all, it would be very few, because when I talk to the CEOs of hospitals, they say there's no way we can run two systems where insurance is charged more and private is charged less. But it's again an issue of collaboration, working together with the hospitals and setting rates or standards across various levels of services for each hospital. We have big teams, both at AR and most underwriters have big teams that look through these claims, and where the hospital is, where the premiums are varying, they are able to pick it up. A few cases would happen where the pricing is very high for insurance as opposed to private, but that is mitigated by ensuring that we follow the pricing that we have agreed, which is agreed in advance, and we are able to check, is that pricing being followed or not being followed. Of course, it's one way of controlling the cost, but because also as insurance, and today because I'm alone, I'll have to be balanced. Sometimes we take 30 days, some days to pay. So you'll find pricing for hospitals takes into account the time you take to pay. If you are taking much longer to pay, and somebody is paying right away, then they might get some discount. And you will take 30 days or 60 days to pay, they get a slightly much higher rate, or they might not get the discount on that. So what here we are doing is create an environment where the provider is able to withdraw the cash on treatment within a period they prefer. And if they withdraw immediately, maybe they can pass a discount to us. If they withdraw the money after a certain time, then we lose the opportunity to get the discount. And that's how we partner with providers to ensure the cost of healthcare is brought down. At a national level, maybe we need to look for a way of standardizing costing. It is there, but I don't think it's it is something that needs to be looked at, to standardize the costings of certain benefits, because you'll find each doctor, each hospital charging different rates, and therefore you can't say they are fraudulent, because this is their rating based on their standard, and some other hospital will charge much lower than others.
Well, it's good that you brought out that point. I mean, you can go to a hospital and meet a doctor, say Dr. Kiptum, charges 2,000 consultation fee.
Yes.
The same doctor, the next hour in another hospital, is charging 5,000 shillings as consultation fee. So what really needs to go into this standardization process, and hasn't it taken too long already?
I think one day we'll achieve it, but if let me talk from insurance perspective, because that's where I have experience.
Yes.
If we came together like insurers and worked closely with the hospitals and the doctors, then we will be able to get some common level of pricing or standard level of pricing. But because we also operate in a disintegrated manner, that creates that opportunity for each doctor, each hospital to charge different rates. But remember, everybody has invested differently. Every hospital, every doctor has invested differently. What I have seen, and I'm not sure how valid it is, the more experienced doctors will charge more consultation than the less experienced. Whether that is ethical or not, I think it's within their profession in terms of ensuring that they charge for the relevant service. So you'll find that it is there. Actually, you'll find triple the price. Some have tripling, some are half, and it just depends on one, the infrastructure, where they are, and maybe the costs that they are incurring, where they have set up their facilities, and what their experience is allowing them to charge.
All right. So that is for the doctors. How about now the service itself?
For the service, we really, I think most we try to standardize. Most services they are just in the range of 2,000, 3,000. You will find only specialists. Mostly specialists, and because they are specialists, will have a slightly higher rate for consultation than the doctors in hospitals.
Right. Let us hope that that standardization goes through sooner. I mean, for the sake of Kenyans and everyone else.
Yeah, and it requires some legislative backup and etc. But as insurers, we can come up and be able to work together with hospitals to arrive at common or standard rates that can be charged across, because we should not compete on payment of expenses. I think at least we can compete on market share.
Yes.
But expenses we can collaborate.
Yes, it's important you've brought out the market share issue. I mean, let's go back to penetration and reaching more Kenyans and bringing them on board in terms of insurance access. What are the ways that the insurance sector is using now to attract more people, and how are they reaching them?
So one of the ways is that increasing awareness among the citizenry to enable them understand or get warm up to medical or to insurance in general. Some of the ways is what we are doing, just talking to the citizens to understand there is insurance, there is medical insurance, and actually medical insurance pays for your claims when you are sick. You know, there are some people who also don't believe that you will pay.
Yes.
So it's the issue of trust. People don't believe you will pay. And I've said out of 51 or so billion collected last year, 75% went into payment of claims. That's around 35 billion. So these are monies that came from insurance companies and paid hospitals or paid members who went to India, who went to the US, who were treated locally for their medical expenses. So insurance and medical specifically will pay for your bills. One of the things about awareness that we need to know is that just be truthful. The issue you find that there is a push and pull between insurers and the client is that the information, there is no asymmetry in information. When you are onboarding, the information you gave and at the time you need to claim is different, and there is some variation in the information which creates then the gap for fraud. So that's one. The other aspect is the products. We need to, as insurers, create, most of us then have without a better word, complex products. Complex, to us we don't see it complex, but complex to the consumer. People who really need a lot of discussions. That's why insurance is mostly sold and not bought. People must come and sit with you, explain to you, this is how it works, these are the benefits, this is how much you pay, so that before you buy, because you can't just walk to a shop and say, okay, give me this insurance, and then pay. There must be some level of sitting because of the complexity or the perceived complexity of insurance products. So if we continuously simplify insurance products, then we'll have more people consuming them and increasing our market share and the penetration. For example, at AR, we have very simple products which can be consumed online. We have a product called AR Protect. This is mainly for accidents. You can buy for a day when you are traveling, or for a week, for a month, for a year, and pay as minimal premiums as possible online. And this is very easily accessible. Very simple products. It's accident only. You get to hospital, we either pay you or pay the hospital. Simple. And that's where the direction we need, therefore, to go in simplifying the products so that we can get more people accessing them.
There are quite a number of insurance agents who have to walk around with suitcases to offices, selling insurance, and it feels a bit outdated, this style of selling. What more can the industry do to even access even the young people who are online? I mean, you can use the digital space now to access anyone. So what more can be done?
Yes, and I'll confirm, we have in Kenya, we have around 10,000 to 12,000 insurance agents, without counting professional insurance brokers. That number should not scare you, because other countries have in the range of 300,000 agents. So we are not among...
Not too high.
It is not too high. So if you have been seeing agents, don't say we have too many, we have too few. So other countries, like in Japan, have more than 300,000 agents, of course, in corresponding to the population. And it's mainly because of the way that element I've talked about, complexity, perceived complexity of insurance products. Even when you want to try to buy online, like today, I urge you to try and purchase. You can do a trial and pay like 400, and you can discuss with me on the refund. When you try to purchase, you'll reach somewhere, you'll start doubting. I need someone to really confirm, so that I hold that person responsible. That's the main thing. People, there's that a trust issue, which then insurers, as insurers, we need to work on ensuring that the citizenry trust us in terms of what we say online is what we will give. Most and at AR, I'll talk for AR, we have apps where we are on the online, on digital space, where you can purchase insurance products easily, also launch your claims, check on status, and if there are any issues, you can raise your complaints, seek clarification from there, and you can buy directly from online. So we are increasingly moving into the digital space, and this we were taught by COVID. Before COVID, we had tried working from home and stopped severally. People asked for flexi time, we said no. But when COVID happened, people went home. We took people home without a plan, and we found ourselves moving on.
It still worked.
And with that, we managed to now teach our agents or our salespeople new methods of now having to sell without a physical meeting. Okay, of course, you can still have a meeting, but you do it online. You can make a call, WhatsApp call, present there. Enable them with the Teams solutions. You can make a call, do a presentation, and you get paid. Premium is paid, and insurance continues. So we are moving more and more into the digital space than this physical movement and having to talk to people before they can buy insurance. And once we work also on the simplification of the products, I think the digital space, even for the customer themselves, they'll be able to purchase without needing an agent to interpret what is in there.
Of course, by simplifying.
Yes. Also, from a regulatory point, and the Insurance Regulatory Authority has also been putting in a lot of effort to ensure that there's more awareness in terms of purchase of insurance through the digital space, and encouraging underwriters to ensure that people can purchase through the digital platform. Also in simplifying the documents. Remember, there's a document called policy document, and the regulator has been working with the insurers to ensure that the document is simplified, so that when you get it, you are not also wondering what all the legal jargon in it.
Let's talk about the young people. targeting these young people. They are online. From the lives they live online, they seem to have some income, some disposable income. But they are not using it to buy important things like insurance. Yeah, they are using it to live the good life, so to say. So what can the insurance sector do to attract these people? In simple sense, really, make insurance look cool for the young generation.
Yeah. First of all, we are getting into a generation called Alpha. These are people born 2010, and this generation called Alpha, and they are extremely sharp. They are not decision makers. I'll come to the decision makers. I've started with the new one, the newest. These guys are not decision makers, but they influence their parents' decision making. I've interacted with, or I have one who is within that range, and you'll find even now the decision to buy even a car. And this is a young guy, you don't know how he has understood how a good car should be. He's the one guiding you. They have a lot of information. He's telling you, no, now you, Dad, you know, you need to create a garage that has a charger so that you can use to charge your electric car. And at that time, you know, you don't have that thinking of electric car, and the guys have already checked online and they can see. So the most important part about that generation is that they influence decisions for the decision makers. Because if he's the one, if he's your son, your daughter telling you what to do or what you think, and telling you stories about it, and really you start getting interested. What is this they are talking about? And you'll end up being there. Same to insurance. If this generation see in their eyes, insurance is always around them, and then as they grow up, you know, what we have done also, let me go straight. What we've done is not marketed properly to touch that kind of clientele. This generation Alpha. When I come to millennials, I think there are a lot of people doing things on millennials, but we haven't done much on generation Alpha. The motor industry, these guys are doing a lot because through gaming to attract that very young generation to get attached to their products. So what we need to do as insurance for the generation Alpha is create the awareness on their platform, be in their space. Currently we are not in their space. We are still very hard. You know, the sales is a very hard sell. You know, what will happen if you get sick? What if you die? What will happen to the expenses? Who will pay for you? You know, that's a very hard selling. And these are guys who really, well, if we are dead, we are dead. So what? So you need to
live once.
We live once. They say life is for the living. For generation millennial is now actually involving them in product creation. This is a difficult one because then we have to create products that have what we call a short period appeal. Is that short gratification? Insurance, remember, doesn't have any shortness of gratification. And you know, these are guys who want to spend on things that really show value now, not value several days or several months later. So, most insurances have tried to create that value, but I think it's an area of opportunity we need to work on. At AAR, we have what we call hospital cash, where then you promise some level of cash money. It doesn't need you wait until you are sick, because you know, if you are selling to someone to say wait until you are sick, then you benefit. Although still hospital cash is cash attaching to sickness. When you are sick and you recover, you get some level of cash. So the most important part is how do we create gratification, immediate, not long range gratification. And several, we tried, a product didn't succeed a lot in Kenya because you know, there's still the trust issue. As AR, we tried a product where you are paid for not being sick. And not necessarily being paid for being sick. So when you are not sick, we pay you. Okay. We will get some level of money, cash, and we paid a number of people good money when you are not sick, because then we were trying to create immediate or short-term gratification so that we attract that generation.
Interesting. And you say it didn't pick up?
It, you know, there's the trust aspect. You know, I think what may have made it not pick a lot is the trust aspect. In South Africa, it does well. That kind of product is in South Africa and it does well. And remember, the South African environment is a bit also tight in terms of regulation. So it does well in that kind of product, not necessarily copy-paste, but that kind of product with more stricter alignment than what we had done. Ours was easy. You take a year ends, you haven't claimed, you get an X amount of money.
Okay. Interesting. When you want to get the attention of the young people, I think the best direction to take is to train them early,
Yes.
teach them early. So it might fall on the parents to teach them the importance of the way we are teaching our children to save. It's also important to teach them to do insurance as well. What do you think?
Yes. And I'll give you an example. We have a customer who one day they keep the customer out. They had an issue in the house. The mother collapsed, and then we sent our ambulance to pick the lady. We took her to hospital and she recovered. Now that family has been on our cover for over 30 years. The children who saw the ambulance come and pick the mother, that image has never left their head. So to them, if anybody is very sick and needs to be rescued, it is AAR. Because they know they came, they picked my mother, and my mother recovered, and she's okay. So the issue of painting a picture of what insurance can do from early age is very important, because then the children will grow with it. As they reach decision making, like 24 years, 25, they have their own jobs, they will still buy insurance, because they shall have seen the importance of insurance from a young age. And remember, what you see in football, I'm not sure you watch football.
Sometimes.
When the players are getting into the pitch, they come with young children.
Yes.
What they are trying is create that generation succession. They are saying, people must learn what happens in football, early age, and grow liking the football. That's the same thing we need to do with the insurance and with our children. They need to know the importance of insurance in their lives, in their parents' lives as they grow up. Then now when they become adults, they know already what insurance is all about.
Very important. Teach a child when they are young. They will not forget when they are old.
Yeah.
Well, I'm speaking with Nixon Shigoli. He is the Managing Director at AAR Insurance Kenya. And we are talking about matters medical insurance as well as travel insurance, and just what insurance means to you as a person, also as a family. Well, this is BizCheck. We want to take a very quick break. Do get in touch with us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1, at Kiptum is my Twitter handle. Ask your questions, tell us your experience, and we shall be sampling them within this particular program. We take a quick break. When we come back, this conversation continues. Stay with Channel 1. Thank you for staying with Channel 1. This is BizCheck. My name is Betty Kiptum. In studio, we have Nixon Shigoli, the Managing Director of AAR Insurance Kenya, and we are talking about matters insurance, medical insurance. We've talked about why you need insurance and just what are the challenges ailing the insurance sector in Kenya. One of the challenges that are preventing Kenyans from even accessing insurance is the savings culture that is very low in Kenya. Yeah. What is your take on this? And by the time we are inculcating a savings culture in Kenya, will they be able to afford insurance, considering even the cost of living that there is right now?
The savings culture, though I have not picked any specific statistics, but I know from the share of your wallet, I think the share that the savings takes is a very small proportion. When people get their money, actually no one has their own money. You only get money for others. You pay rent, you pay mortgage, you pay for school fees, you You pay things and you are left with the zero. And therefore, that's why you find insurance not finding space within that wallet. So first problem is the income itself. If it is very narrow, then it doesn't find itself into the savings box. The second issue is generally, people should use insurance to make savings. Because remember, when you pay premiums into insurance, you have saved for future expense through insurance. And there are other insurances that will even pay you they are the investment insurance schemes like unit links that will pay. You can pay in premium for a certain period and get returns after the end of the period. And that the money you will get can be used to purchase other insurance products. So there are a wide range of insurance products. You don't need to save. Most people will save in the bank and they have access to the money. So therefore you have not saved because you have put it there, but you can withdraw. So then, it is not savings. But if you put money in insurance through an investment policy, then that money is there, and if you have agreed for a certain period, if it is 10 years, if it is for school fees, the money will mature at the time your child needs to go to school, and then you use it to pay for school fees. And that is the best avenue to do savings. Because if you save in other avenues, and I'm not saying they are wrong, because of the accessibility to the money, then when you have an emergency, you still go back there, and the money you have saved there you find at some point you don't have any savings. So I would encourage people to save through insurance policies. You can go for investment policies, you can go for the normal medical policies, which those ones save you from expenses at the time when you have an emergency. But there are those that will give you plus interest, plus bonuses, and there are various policies that people can buy to save. And for your information, people are buying. In Kenya, we have around, we collect over 130 billion in terms of life policies. Some of those life policies are savings policies, and therefore it is already there. If you are not aware, then you should just check with any insurance company that sells those savings policies, especially the life insurance policy, the unit links, and get a cover that will save for you money. You pay a little amount over time so that you can get it as lump sum.
Well, from a regulatory perspective, what do you think as an insurer or representing the insurers, what do you think the regulator should do or the policy environment can be improved to better the insurance sector in Kenya?
Yes, and there I represent insurance also. I work at, I'm a senior officer at AKI, Insurance Association of Kenya Insurers. Yes. I think there's still room for improvement within the Kenyan environment. We've done a lot over time, and we've seen a lot of flexibility. Now there is actually a law on micro insurance that has come into law through the regulator. This one allows now insurers to create, or new entrants to come in and create very low products for the low income citizens, up to the like even 40 shillings a day. A product that you can buy at 40 shillings a day, and you're not constrained to pay annually. And this product issued through digital platforms and with very simplified terms. So such has come into place, and I'm sure, I know, there are already several companies have come forward to register as micro insurance underwriters. This will increase the penetration within the insurance industry, because therefore this micro is specifically targeting low income. You can't charge much higher rates than the one defined for low income. If you want to do normal insurance, a premium insurance, premium private insurance, then you do it with a different license. That's an environment already created by insurance regulator, and which we underwriters will take opportunity of, including ourselves. The other aspect that can be worked on is just the aspect of the collaboration between NHIF and private underwriters, because I think there is an opportunity there to create a very seamless collaboration between the NHIF, the public insurers, public insurance and private, so that then the citizens can get benefit of both private and public. This opportunity will come in terms of also controlling the level of claims and reduction of fraud, because then people can easily claim from both sides. If that is streamlined, also it can create a very big opportunity for the industry.
Which is very important. And in terms of diversification, what is the industry doing to diversify its products?
Diversification, I'll not take it very technical. I'll take it on
break it down, simplify.
I'll take it on a very basic level. On diversification. I think most insurers are now diversifying. You notice some things, in my view, which would have been hard to insure before are now insured. For example, even in the medical insurance, when COVID started, you remember most of us went public and said, we'll not cover because this is a pandemic, it's usually not insured. Of course, into the standard rules of insurance, these are not insured. And people came up. We also came up, we developed products and launched products to insure COVID. And that's just to move away from our mentality of the standard things that happen in insurance to going into different environment of insuring. That's one. And you will notice also, for example, now there's drought like in some areas, and you can see livestock dying out of lack of water. You can see there's a lot of, Kenya is an agricultural country, and there is that weather seasons and which can affect crops. And some insurers have come up and are taking advantage of that in a good way to offer farmers insurance for livestock, for such calamities, and for farmers for such seasonality of environment or of the weather. Lastly, there are many aspects. I'm just picking a few here and there. Currently, the most common thing, because of working from home, having brought by COVID, is now cybercrime. Now, you can be hacked. Your phone is an avenue for hacking and is an avenue for a lot of problems. And then you'll find in the local market also, not very big cyber insurance in Africa, but you can find now in Kenya, we have at least 2 underwriters, and more will come up to offer insurance for cybercrime. And these are opportunities that are coming, new things, where there are no statistics. Insurance relies a lot on statistics. What is happening? How should we price? Here you are getting into darkness because you don't know. There are no statistics. But we have found people embracing and offering cyber insurance. At AR, we've bought also cyber insurance because we've moved our servers to the cloud, and with moving to the cloud to enable customers access us online, then the risk of cyber insecurity is high. And therefore, we get now a local provider to give us cyber insurance. And those are opportunities for diversification, not just the traditional medical insurance, motor. We are big on motor, both private and public, and medical. That is what makes majority, over 60% of the medical premiums, of the general insurance premiums. Right.
It's interesting that you brought the cyber security issue. I mean, according to the Communications Authority, there was quite a spike in
and ensure that we are not holding members' information without consent or unnecessarily. So it's a new area that now underwriters are looking at to ensure. First of all is the insurance aspect of it, and how much information should we ask for from a prospective member, and how long should we stay with it in lieu of the law, and to reduce the risk of any fines arising from the Data Protection Act.
That's pretty important. Let's now talk about travel insurance. Just give us an overview of how it works, first of all.
Now, travel insurance is among the very easy products in my view. I don't know, it's easy. It may be easy to me, but it may not be easy for other people. When you are traveling, when you want to travel to any country, mostly outside Kenya and mostly overseas, you'll find a requirement for travel insurance. And travel insurance, you then just need to state where you are going and how long. So it usually you buy for the period you are away. I'm away and I want travel insurance. You can specify what you want, but they are always standard. Not very, unless you want very enhanced. They're just standard products, and they are very easily purchased online. So you can either go online, you get you put your details, the date you want to travel, the country you are going, and you get a quote. You pay, you get the letter or the certificate to present while you are traveling. So that's how easy it is, and it will cover you for loss of luggage, some level of medical expenses, some if you are kidnapped when you are there, such things, ransom, blah, blah, those things. That's it. It will take care of all those if you have just flight delay or cancellation or whatever. Those challenges you can get while you are traveling or while you are out there. That will be taken care of by a travel cover. It doesn't necessarily come with very big other things, but those are the main ones. Once you have bought, you travel, you come back, it lapses. It ends as when you come back. Now, when you want to travel again, you can't use it, because remember, you have specified.
Yes. The period.
I'm traveling today, from this date to this date. Because remember also, as insurers, they are trying to know you are in a certain country. They can make a certain arrangements for you when you are there. If they don't know, then you would be there and you get problems and people don't know you are there. So that's how travel would work. Now, if you want to travel again, you go through the same process. You can go through the same insurer, or you can go online, get another one, and buy. For example, at AR, we have our own app. You get into the app, you apply, and you can get the product immediately. And immediately you just apply, you get the quote, you can pay online, and you get the certificate. And on travel, if you want to vary something, you let us know, we vary.
Isn't that one of the classes that you can maybe target the young people?
Yes, I think this one does not discriminate on the generation, because if you are traveling, and you need insurance. So because I'm not sure whether the statistics show many of the young people are the ones that travel a lot.
They are living the soft life.
But yes, anybody who is traveling, then is the opportunity. We are trying to create also travel insurance locally within Kenya. You are leaving Nairobi, you are going to Kisumu, you are going to Mombasa. Should you have some level of travel insurance, either for the day or for the week or for the... So there is inland travel insurance, and of course there is the outbound. So this inward looking, I think, may get a lot of that generation into the bracket, because then they travel a lot and they might require insurance here and there.
Well, that is something to definitely look into.
Yes. Well, but travel insurance is a very... And people buy it because it's compulsory at some point, because you'll get it a requirement for travel. But if people were to create it as a necessity for any travel, then you'll get a lot of demand. Currently, it constitutes around 2 to 3% of the total premiums collected in Kenya would come from travel insurance. So but majority of the covers are just medical and motor.
If you were to maybe look at it in terms of the inland cover, how about partnering with maybe local travel companies such that that cost is covered in the the package that they give?
Yes. First, that's how it works. Some of the travel companies that are known will always have it as part of the package.
Right.
You'll hear, if you are coming in and you want to move around Masai Mara, you'll find that as part of the package, insurance or travel insurance. If you are going, say, to Dubai, you'll find it from your travel agent. They include the travel insurance. So most underwriters, the avenue they use is the digital one, and then travel insurance, because then you are connecting with the people who are talking to the travelers. So you are able to get more market by having the travel insurance within your partners. Yeah.
Oh, very important. So as we come to a close of this conversation, Nixon, could you just give us your closing remarks and maybe the way forward or the outlook for the future of the industry?
Personally, I am confident that the insurance industry is going to is one of the avenues that will build our GDP in Kenya. Because if you look at the premiums that are collected and what they go into doing, they help in generating more revenue within the country. And remember, for us to reduce the level of poverty, insurance is another very good avenue, because most people are thrown off balance, sell their property because of just a medical bill that has come up and wiped all their income. So if you embrace and you buy insurance cover, especially like for medical, motor is there is some compulsory aspect to it.
You have to have it, yes.
But for medical, it's voluntary. I'm sure what is being done by the government around universal healthcare with NHIF will also encourage more people to buy insurance, and we will see the penetration of the country moving higher, to the higher of 5%. That's what I would predict in the next 5 years. We'll see the penetration moving to 5%. Assuming the penetration is a measure against GDP. So if GDP grows faster than insurance, then it will continue being low, even if your revenues are growing. So it's to grow the revenues for insurance at a much higher rate than the GDP is growing, so that you have a very good penetration rate. But having said that, we also are not very far. We are among the top. Kenya is among the top countries in terms of penetration within Africa, but then we are top with a very small percentage. That's why we must work very hard. We shouldn't be complacent. We must move that percentage higher.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nixon, for joining us.
Thank you too.
I have been speaking with Nixon Shigoli, the Managing Director of AAR Insurance Kenya. We've talked quite a lot about insurance, the medical insurance, the travel insurance, and just how to target various groups of the population, and just how to ensure that diversification is happening and the industry is growing. This is BizCheck. We shall be taking a quick break. When we come back, a conversation about avocado export. Do stay with us.